Hi, we're Dave and Jude, and we sold up our home and left our jobs and our lives behind to live on board our sailboat, Anamkara. Since leaving Portsmouth on the south coast of the UK, we've had quite an adventure, visiting wild Atlantic islands, Irish pubs, spotting whales, and watching motorsports. We're embracing life and all that it has to offer. Come with us as we continue to sail north and explore the UK's magnificent coastline all the way up to the Scottish Islands and beyond. We'll be exploring the lochs of Scotland and the Hebridean Islands and discover the wildlife and communities on the way. We have new videos out every Saturday, so make sure you subscribe to avoid missing an episode.
We've just come out for a bit of a wander. We're currently walking around Peel Castle. So we saw this coming in and saw people walking alongside it. So we're walking around the outside. I thought it'd be a nice little stroll before the rain comes in later today. It's started getting a bit windier. It was quite calm this morning, but now the wind's picking up. We've arrived in Douglas now. We went into the Tourist Information Centre to find out about bus tickets. So we got the bus in, but we found there were some 7-day passes that we could get. So we asked about those, which we've now purchased, which will get us to the races and exploring the island a bit more. I'm now out of breath. This is ridiculous. We are walking up a steep hill.
It's not that steep.
Well, you can see behind us the buildings down there, and we've just walked from here, which, yes, on camera does not look very steep, but we are walking to the Manx Museum and we're going to have a look and see whether we want to go around that, and then probably go back down, have some lunch somewhere, and then probably get on another bus and go further explore. Right, now go.
Hang on, I'm just going to get a reel.
Dave's not going quick enough. He's going to tell you all about this little tower there. I think I pointed at it. You ready?
Right, yes.
Hold on, go.
So the Tower of Refuge is situated on Conister Rock, also known as St Mary's Isle. And effectively it was built so that if you shipwreck on that rock, you have somewhere to go and seek refuge during the storm. So it's just a little sort of house that you can sit in if you've shipwrecked, which is brilliant.
Good. Glad we know that now.
We took the bus from Douglas up to Laxey. Laxey's a village on the eastern coast of the island, and behind me you'll see the Laxey Wheel, or otherwise known as the Great Laxey Wheel. It's going to come out of there because it's quite loud. So this is one of the bigger water wheels in the world at the mines. We'll find a sign in a minute and tell you all about it, but it's a very short trip from Douglas, just on a bus. You can also get there's an electric railway that runs up the mountain. This is one of the stops on that. So yeah, we're going to go up to the top. It's apparently 95 steps to the top. Having been up there before, I can tell you it's a bit wobbly. It's a completely wooden structure, so yeah, we'll see you at the top. It's been there hundreds of years though.
It's shaking.
So we found that information board for you. Excuse me while I'm reading and then talking to you. In an 8-hour day, the Lady Isabella, which is the other name for the water wheel and pump, can pump 20,000 gallons, which is 90,000 litres. And that's obviously pumping out of the mines. So I think I've said in another clip that this is allowed them to go deeper than pretty much any other mine. The diameter of the wheel is 72 feet 6, which is 21.75 meters. It is enormous when you're stood up at the top. It's 6 foot breadth, weighs 50 tons, and the shaft is 17 feet long, and the shaft diameter is 21 inches, or 0.53 meters. So the crank converts the circular motion of the wheel to the horizontal motion of the rod. And effectively water comes in along the top. If I turn around, just over there somewhere, the water comes in. Oh no, hang on. Where is the water? Oh, the water goes in a pipe underground and up through the tower. So the tower is here, the water comes in under the ground and up, gets to the top, falls into the wheel, which pulls the wheel around, and then the water exits below. And then the cranks and rods obviously move back and forth, creating the motion for the pump to go up and down, which then pulls water out of the mines. If you ever come, we highly recommend going to the top. The view was fantastic, but it's terrifying up there. I said earlier that the whole structure is wooden. It's obviously the main kind of building that it's in is stone, but the structure that you stand on at the top is just made of wood. The bit that presumably has the water flowing along it underneath where you're standing, and it's a very strange feeling up there. Obviously it's robust, it's been there for hundreds of years, but the whole thing sort of sways in the wind, and as the pump moves, the thing rocks, and it's very, very unsettling. As Jude said, she's fine with heights. I'm less fine with heights, but even Jude was a bit unsettled by it. It's very odd. Good.
Oh, it's the getting off as well that's like a bit wary, because it's quite narrow.
Yeah.
And they're just like these slate tiled steps, and you just don't feel very secure. How sure we are, and loads of people probably come up here every day.
And it's been there for hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years. No one's died.
Oh, I'm sure people have died, but not from like it collapsing.
Yeah.
So the reason there's this water wheel on the Isle of Man is apparently there was no coal natively on the island. So rather than importing coal, they just stuck with what was working, which was water wheels, made them larger and larger to accommodate the deeper mines, and it worked. You know, and this infrastructure's here hundreds of years later, so obviously a good decision. But it was in use while people like the Cornish were using steam engines, which would have probably been simpler, but this obviously worked, so good idea.
We have just come back out to Laxey. It's a few days later, to be fair, and the sun's back shining. We've had very strong winds, gusting 30-40 knots.
A little bit of rain.
Quite a lot of rain. So we've mainly been on the boat doing booty jobs. But yes, it's a sunny day again now, so we've decided to walk up Snaefell. And
which is the mountain.
It's only 620 meters above sea level. You can. We've come to Laxey and it's slightly at the bottom. We're about 2-hour walk to do.
Because the normal buses aren't running to Bungalow due to the racing.
Oh, but also I wanted to walk it. We could have got there. We'd have just had to have gone a long way round.
Yeah.
But anyway, we are doing it, and it's hopefully going to be warm. And then hopefully this afternoon we're going to watch our first bit of TT racing as part of the qualifying that they're doing. We'll see how that goes. So just come on quickly to just say I think we're heading here. Not entirely sure. We'll see where we end up, but yeah, it looks quite far and we think we're having to go down into the valley before we go back up, and we've just walked quite far uphill.
But we are nearly at the Snaefell Mines.
Yeah.
Not really sure what's there, but there have been signs.
We'll see what comes.
We made it to Snaefell Mine, which it turns out there's what looks like a really big slag heap just on the surface, and there's a whole bunch of it that's collapsed in, and some big red signs saying do not enter, risk to your safety, etc, etc, due to recent activity. The activity definitely does look recent, so although it's been really settled weather for a good month or 2 months here, we're not going to risk it. We try never to ignore any signs like that, just for our own safety. So we turned around and we've found another path that turns off this to the left, or to the right from the original one, which leads up this mountain, which then we can turn off and get to the road, which is where we were heading anyway. It's not the part of the road we wanted to get to. We were headed to a place called Bungalow, which is where the tram stops, and then the tram also goes up to the mountain, and while the TT is on, there's a bridge over the road so that you don't have to cross the road and the tram doesn't have to cross while the race is on. So if you come up to the mountain to watch the race, then you can still come up and go back via the tram while the race is on and the roads are closed. So it's quite a handy thing to be aware of. But that's where we were headed. It looks like we're now going to be probably half a mile away from that Bungalow station, which is fine. You know, it's a 5-mile walk anyway, and Jude and I are well used to walking. But this bit that we've turned off onto is incredibly steep. I'm having to walk sideways just to get a proper grip and to stop it, my boots hurting my feet, because it's, I don't know, probably 30 to 40% incline. It's a decent path though, and more importantly it's not going to collapse from what we can tell, so fingers crossed. But really lovely views. If I look this way, then you can see back down the valley. That's Laxey in the distance there. Can't quite see the Laxey Wheel from here, but it is down this valley where we visited, and on the slope the far side you would have seen a line all the way down. That's the tramway that goes right down to Laxey and then onwards to Douglas and Ramsey, to the north and south of the island, or south and north would be correct for that. So yeah, we're going to carry on walking to the top of this. We don't know how high it is because we didn't plan to go this way, but lovely day for a walk, nice and sunny. So the diversion that we've taken is longer and steeper than we were expecting. We didn't think it was a problem, but we've just realised it's only an hour until the mountain road closes. We're nearly there, but then we've probably got a 20-minute walk alongside that, which hopefully we can walk not on the road. It doesn't look like there's a path or anything, but it's one-way traffic and everyone's being extra careful right now. But yeah, we're pretty tired, walking up a very, very steep hill. If I turn, you can see where we've just come from right down there in the valley. and it's just exhausting, and you can't walk straight up because it's so steep. So we're having to sort of zigzag. We've lost the path as well because it was just too steep. It was going straight to the summit of this mountain, which is not Snaefell, and we didn't want to go there, and it looked like a really craggy, rocky summit as well. So we've sort of walked around. It's a fairly rounded mountain looking at the contours on the map. Luckily we've both got downloaded maps on our watches and on our phones, so we're not short of navigation, but we are tired and could do with getting to the road really. But not too far to go. I'll just spin you around and show you. So we're nearly there, and we can hear all the bikes going past and stuff, so and we can see them quite clearly, so we're pretty close. And let's say worse things happen at sea.
So we're back on the boat now. We have been out for some pizza, which you can see here. It was very tasty. It was a Black Dog oven place
in Peel.
Very, very nice. But we have semi-made it to Snaefell. So we had to climb up that mountain that Dave told you about, and then we crossed over the road, potentially naughtily, because there was a closed sign.
Yeah, there was a little closed sign across
but it was the actual mountain road. But we waited for a gap and quickly went across and got across to the Snaefell side, and
so we waited for the road wasn't closed at the time. There was a closed sign over the bit that you climb over the fence with, which name I've forgotten right now, turnstile, and so we waited for, there was a bunch of motorbikes that were going past, and we waited for them because they were going pretty quick over the mountain. Then there were no motorbikes. There were a couple of cars coming, but the cars were driving at like normal speeds, and they were quite far away, so we crossed and it was safe, and we knew that there was a spot the other side that we could get onto the mountain. In the Isle of Man, the road kind of goes around and it splits the mountain off from the peak, and we got onto the bit that was the peak, and then we walked along to Bungalow, where the tram was.
Yeah, and we got there and the roads were all about to close. It was the last tram of the day, so we were like, we're just going back down. So we went back down and we went into Douglas and then got another bus, and the roads all closed, and then the racing started. So we did see some bikes racing across the mountain, but we haven't quite seen any of the actual preliminary whatever qualifying matches as of yet.
We had some beers at the Black Dog Oven, just FYI.
Yeah, we might not include this.
We also, from the peak of Snaefell, you can see the Lake District in England, which is Scafell Pike, is the biggest mountain in England. And also on a good day you can see the Mourne Mountains, where we were 2 weeks ago, last week, something like that, over in Ireland. So it's a pretty good lookout point.
But we did see
the
that
weather
as well.
isn't quite clear enough to see everything at the moment, and we didn't make it quite to the peak.
But
we did see the Lake District and the Scafell Pike.
Yeah. So yeah,
which was cool.
But really amazing views as well. So I don't know what we had of those, but there's definitely photos, and they're probably on Instagram. So.
But we did fail to summit. Yeah. We were like, I don't know.
Oh, we weren't even that far off, like 100 probably meters
of elevation.
Because we were up at like 500 or 600.
Yeah.
At that point of getting there. So, and we were only going to like 620 or something.
Yeah. We'll probably go again.
Yeah. But maybe not walking the whole way, because I think the whole quarry being questionably shut.
And in our defence, walking from
longer.
Laxey, you're starting almost at sea level, so it's a longer way up. A lot of mountains. It's called projection. the point where you start to the point where you actually summit is the projection of the mountain. So some of the tallest mountains in the world are a really short climb because you start from almost at the top, and some of the smaller mountains you start at sea level, and you've got to climb further.
But we will be seeing some races soon.